And Jay, does that go into focus when somebody speaks? Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Jay, would you like to do call to order?
Yes, Commissioner Silvera,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Present.
Commissioner Favreau is not present. Commissioner Shelton.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez, not present at this time. Vice Chair Newkirk.
Here.
Chair Armstrong.
Present.
Okay, we have quorum, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. And welcome to the new commissioners who are just all sworn in.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any presentations for today?
We have no presentations.
Okay. And the agenda, is there any changes that anybody would like to make the agenda, or can we accept it as presented?
I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second? Excellent. Okay. Public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission, and agenda items if the member of the public cannot be present later in the meeting at the time the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned to each speaker. Are there any public comments, Jay?
Mr. Paul Henrik has comments.
Yes, thank you. Paul Henriksen, Upper West Side Neighborhood Organization leadership members. And several years ago, before Lisa was on City Council, City Council member Middleton was on City Council, she was the chair of 1PS, and she requested that residents consider suggesting an idea to memorialize Mr. Lawrence Crossley. And my husband and I thought about it for about 3 days, percolating an idea. And at that time, we were neighborhood formation support co-chairs, and we were aware of some city-owned lots that are quite irregular at the south end of the Lawrence Crossley Neighborhood Organization that are quite long and narrow, and you really can't build anything on it. So they sit there, and we really thought that might be an ideal location to have a memorial park for Mr. Crossley. His achievements are significant, and when you add to the fact that what he accomplished, he also did it under conditions that the environment was not kind to people of color, especially our Black community members. And he achieved some substantial and substantive things in our city, and it's important that we give recognition to him. So we really thought that was a great idea. So we put together a proposal, and we shared it with 3 of the commissions. This commission, the Public Arts Commission, the Human Rights Commission, and the Parks and Rec Commission. Just before this meeting, I emailed that PDF again to you, Jay. So if you feel inclined, you can share it with the commissioners of both commissions, and Yvonne has it as well. And I mentioned it to Parks and Rec when they came to do a presentation at 1PS. And so we think it would be an ideal location. We haven't heard of any other ideas to memorialize him in a more significant way. I appreciate that a street has been named after him, but I thought the Public Arts Commission would be an ideal choice as well. And hopefully it can be picked up by members of our city, of our community, that have a connection with Mr. Crossley. It really doesn't seem, quite frankly, good optics for my husband and I, a couple of white gay guys, to be telling Mr. Crossley's story. But we did want to plant the seed and push that somebody take it over and tell his story in a good way. And those lots, that location could be ideal. So I've provided a PDF to Jay, and when he gets an opportunity, he can share that with the commission. And that was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Jay, are there any other comments?
Councilmember DeHart, did you have any public comments for the Public Arts Commission? I don't believe so, Mr. Chair.
Okay, excellent. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome all the new commissioners. This is a momentous time for the Arts Commission. We've been struggling with not a shortage of ideas or concepts or opportunities, but really more a shortage of bodies. We've had a hobbled commission for a while, and we've done some amazing things in spite of the fact that we haven't had a full-bodied commission. So I've had a chance to meet with all three of you, and I'm thrilled that you're on. I think you're each going to bring a different superpower to the commission, and we benefit from divergent perspectives and divergent opinions and divergent personalities and backgrounds. I think, as I mentioned to you individually, I encourage you to ask hard questions and provide strong opinions that make the project better. My advice to you when doing new work is to not run off and come up with an idea and then present it fully formed with an artist, with a location, with an idea, and then to the commission. We are commissioned for that specific reason, that we should be workshopping concepts together. We should be working together. And a lot of times the better work comes when someone mentions something and it just throws back. And ultimately, we really want more community support, and we want more responsive opportunity here. So what I wanted to do quickly is talk about some of the programs that we have in motion already that have been spearheaded and either are already paid for, already approved, and on budget lines, and other ones that we've talked about for a number of months and they're just about happening. Some of these we will need another commissioner on board. We haven't been able to do that with previous projects because we couldn't have more than 2 people on a project, otherwise we were hitting quorum. So now that we have 7 people, we can get more people involved, and that's great. So the first one is the inventory and repair. We have, I think DPG asked me, do we have an inventory? Do we have a list? And the thing is, we have 3 different inventories and neither one of them is complete. So what we do have, though, is a list of work that has been assigned to a repair team, and they are working on that, and it's been happening in waves and segments. So if one of you would like to participate in that inventory assessment, it's not only completing the inventory, but it's also going and ensuring that the repair team did exactly what they were charged with doing. Because what happens is that invoice comes to city staff, they don't know what it was supposed to look like. And so we need somebody to go out and inspect each of these work to make sure that the work was actually done. Right now, we think we have approximately 300 plus pieces of public art. And they range from pieces like the obvious ones, like the 3 John Clemens sculptures in Demuth Park, or the Sonny Bono bust in the airport, the big ones that are noticeable. And then there's a lot of other ones that you may not even know are public art, but are, like the fountain outside of Coffee South in their courtyard there is a piece of public art. And yet no one really thinks of that as public art in the courtyard until you look right down there. There's a little tiny sign. So we need to get that together. So if anybody would like to participate, you can send a note to Jay or to me, and we will get working on that. The other 2 pieces that we have going on right now, part of that inventory and review and repair is I was looking at the one inventory list that was given to me by 4 chairs ago. And there was some inventory of pieces that no one had seen before and weren't on the other 2 inventory lists. And it turns out they were in our storage facility and no one had gone to see them. And it turns out these are 2 major pieces of artwork. One is valued at $80,000 and it's by the artist Marlene Lachim, and it's called Together Again. And then there's a piece by Woods Davey from 1986 that used to be on display at the Fashion Plaza before the Desert Fashion Plaza was torn down. So these are two substantial pieces of work that not only need to be repaired, but also they need to be recited in another location. So as part of the evaluation and the inventory, there's finding some nice little gems as well. Okay. So the next two things I want to mention are we've initiated work on two parks downtown. And one is the Pop Art Park, which is on what you refer to as Lot G. And it is on sort of catty corner from the graffiti park by the West Elm parking lot. And that is where we're putting the popsicles, lawn chair, and pinwheel.
That's where the babies were?
No, babies are across the street
Okay,
in the
I see
pit.
that, yeah.
And then the other one is a park that we're just calling sort of local art park. And that is where the hanging car is, and there's a mural there, and that's where we're installing two other pieces. So those are pieces of artwork that are happening. We're just working on the installation and waiting for finance to get all the contracts to the artist to get that done. And then there is a concept that I mentioned, I think to each of you, the Eco Art Walk. And this is a program that really started about a year and a half ago. And it's doing an art walk along North Riverside between Sunrise and Indian Canyon. And that's in conjunction with the planning department, the police department, sustainability, and code enforcement. And that is going to be a walk where we put eco art in there. Now, the pieces that we intended to start off with there were the horses, which are on Tocco's Canyon Way. And honestly, the Marlene piece and the Woods Davy piece that we found in storage could be eco art because they're all natural materials, metal and stone as well. So they could go there if necessary. The Woods Davy piece, I'll circulate these. It's an interesting piece. It looks like sort of steel beams and things. And your first instinct is, oh, that'd be great in the park, but I don't think you'd want kids climbing on it because there's boulders attached to it and I'll kill somebody. So there's the Eco Art Walk. And if anybody wants to assist with the Eco Art Walk, there is a meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock with planning, police, code enforcement, sustainability, and the neighborhood association. Okay. But I'm fine going that alone, but if anybody does want to participate, let me know and I'll give you the information on that. And then the airport, which I'll get to later. And then the last one is we talked about doing park grants. We've had a program that was initiated, I think before we got on the neighborhood grants, wasn't it?
Yeah, the start of the neighborhood grants was just before the pandemic, and then it was put on hold. And what we did about a year ago, a little over a year ago, was reactivate it.
Yeah. So with the neighborhood grant, that was a $5,000 grant given to neighborhoods to do art in a matter that they wanted. They would come to us with an idea. We would approve the idea. They could then go take it to conception and design. We would approve that, and then it would have to go to council for approval. But what we want to do is sort of blow that up a little bit and make it rather than neighborhood specific, but park specific. Because one of the requests we've received from council is to do more in the parks, bigger and better pieces in the parks. So that one we talked about doing a $50,000 grant per park. And that would be starting off with the James O. Jesse Center area and then Victoria Park. And when I mentioned that to council, my first response was, why not do every park at the same time? It's like, okay. So this is a big initiative that they want to see happen very quickly. So that one we'll probably talk about at our September meeting. And the $50,000 park grants are meant to be community-minded art and playful and environmental and engaging the community in terms of the final design decision and make sure that it's appropriate for that community. Okay. And I think those are the big pieces we have ahead. And as I said, I think it's the important thing is that we are moving forward with big and important pieces of artwork. We're not doing any program like the utility boxes or the benches right now. We've stopped those and put them on hold. They had their place in time. They were great during the pandemic as a way to keep local artists employed and give them some money. They also were important because they were able to engage and encourage artists with less experience and younger artists and non-traditional artists to participate and contribute to our collection. And not every artist can afford to do a $50,000 sculpture. So it's a way to get the community involved with that. But from a management perspective, it got very complicated, and the approval and the administration of it and the maintenance of it. So we need to rethink the opportunity to do community engagement for non-traditional artist engagement in a way that's more manageable. And as I said, we have the full support of City Council. They like the ideas we're presenting. They like the big opportunities. City staff we're making them grind their wheels. Jay will tell you, I must send them 20 emails a day. And I'll get to some other things, but I think we're doing some really good work now. And it's important work, and the community supports it. So welcome and thank you for joining.
Thank you. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Of the three, the inventory, the downtown park with the popsicle and the echo walk, art walk, those are in what phase in terms of being approved budget wise, or are they in different phases?
The downtown park both downtown parks are 95% approved.
Okay.
There was a little snafu that we hit with Lot G in terms of how we could install the artwork, and we're dealing with that, and that may come back, and we may need an incremental budget assessment in September. We originally intended, it's popsicles, which was supposed to, the posts are 3 feet below ground. The area that we're moving to, there's 4 inches of dirt because it's over the parking garage. So we needed to reassess how we could install them.
Right.
And then because it's over the parking garage, there are weight limits, so we couldn't do a cement pedestal. So now we've determined, Jay and I dealt with the city building, and we're going to be using thick metal plates that you see when they do road repair, and they will be supports welded to the metal plates. So we just need to get that estimated out, and that. So there may be a cost assessment on it. That's approved and happening. And the local artist park, those pieces are approved already.
Okay.
There will be more pieces added to it.
Right.
But that'll be a while way off. The Eco Art Walk that'll be a big initiative because it involves so many different areas of the commissions and the departments. Our responsibility is solely for the art. So we will pull in sustainability to do something like maybe have solar powered lighting for the artwork. And there may be something that they do along the flood zone, educational things. We're looking at it globally, this macro vision, but our contribution will be the art and the location of the artwork. And then what was the third one?
The inventory.
Inventory is going to be ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
The art grants program.
Yep.
It's ongoing too, this one.
That one is in the conception phase.
Oh, it's still.
Yeah,
Okay.
we haven't even formally voted on it within the commission. We haven't even formally decided the best implementation of it. How do we do these grants? How many grants we do at one time? Do we approve the grants every 2 months? We approve a new one. Just, as I was saying to Jay today, we not only need to manage a financial budget, but a temporal budget. We have to plan ahead of when everything is happening. There's only so much manpower on city staff to do this. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Armstrong. I just want to say, for myself, I want to officially welcome all of you to the commission. It's great to have you. I'm looking forward to talking more with each of you one-on-one and getting to know a bit about your backgrounds and your interest in the Arts Commission. I'm sure each of you have really special backgrounds, experiences, as well as connections in the community that will be really valuable to our work going forward. And if there's any way I can help in terms of helping you get acclimated with the processes that we go through or fleshing out ideas, I'm more than happy to do that. So thank you. And again, welcome. And then I was involved in the maintenance review that we did maybe in 2021, me, Matthew, and Tracy. So I'd be happy to continue to work on that with another member of the commission. So thank you. I think that's all for me.
And I just want to reiterate that Barrett has been a great support for me. He's as even keeled and level headed as I can be, passionate and emotional. So I think it's a nice balance. So. Okay.
And so it's going to send in one of them, would tell you today, or you said tomorrow, or if you're interested to work with you in one of them.
The only one that just send me an email if you want to participate in the Eco Art Walk, because there's a meeting for that tomorrow at 3.
Okay.
But I'll let you know on that. Okay. And then items for discussion and approval. Okay. Discuss and approve a request from the Palm Springs Art Commission for $25,000 grant for deinstallation and return of the sculpture History of Suspended Time by Gonzalo Lebreja. Yeah.
For this one.
Okay. Just for background on this piece, this was a piece that is the suspended car, and it was installed by the museum when they did an exhibition called American Roads. And in tandem with the installation, they put this up front, and the Public Arts Commission, there was assistance with the commission for the museum. That installation within the museum is gone, but we voted a year later to keep the car there as public art. So we paid an incremental fee. And as part of that, we said we would help them deinstall it as well. And you can see from Adam Lerner's letter here, he explains the whole history of it and everything. The piece was, I feel it was impactful when it first appeared. And it sort of, again, lived its moment. And this is another piece where we do some pieces as temporary art and others as permanent in our collection. This is really more a pro forma formality of approving the money to the museum to deinstall it. And again, this is the location where we're going to be doing the pieces for the local up and coming artists. So we have a major piece coming from Ryan Campbell in there, and another major piece from Adobe that is going there. And there will be room for others, but those are the two that we have that we've already approved are in the ways to being installed.
And are those permanent pieces?
Yes,
Those are.
those will be permanent pieces. I think that for a location like this, we should sort of keep it like a 75% permanent, 25 temporary, where we rotate some pieces, but we do want to keep some pieces in the permanent collection. And for clarification, I think there's a difference between permanent collection and permanent location. There are pieces that we then can have in our collection that we could move sometime.
Right.
So we don't need to be thinking it's going to be here forever, but it's part of our collection forever. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would note for the record that Commissioner Shelton recused herself and has left the room before discussion on this item began.
Thank you, Jay. So I'd like to make a motion for the approval of $25,000 for the deinstallation of History Suspended Time.
I make a motion that we approve $25,000 for the deinstallation of the History of Suspended in Time.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Excellent. There are many things that we do that, as I said, are sort of pro forma approval for budgetary reasons. There are items that may come to us from city staff that we have to approve something, and other things that we just as part of a prior agreement. So, okay. Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
The airport art update. Commissioner Ramirez is shadowing me on the airport art. And unfortunately, he has a conflict, so he could be here today. So I will bring up the new commissioners up to speed on that. The airport commission is wholly supportive of public art. They love public art. They want more public art. And we have probably 13 pieces of public art there right now. Most people don't notice them because they're not sited in the best location. They seem to just be sort of pushed into a corner to fill a space rather than illuminating the art in the best way. So there's two initiatives here with this art, and one is we're doing a mural that will be on the promenade area concourse between the regional concourse and the main terminal. And it will be a mural that basically says, "Welcome to Palm Springs," or "Palm Springs welcomes you," in big sort of retro modern graphics, like a big modern postcard type thing that people can take the picture in front of. So I do know that Chris has 3 or 4 different artists that he's contacted. They're going to supply sketches. He will be presenting those at the next meeting. We're going to encourage him to circulate them prior to the meeting so we see them beforehand. You don't have to make a split decision. Okay. The next component with the airport is we've had a couple site inspections, meeting with the airport staff and the airport commission about reciting a lot of the artwork. The reciting is going to have 2 benefits. One, it's going to elevate the work and place it in a better location. And it's going to create something a little more beautiful while they're doing renovations in the airport. They're doing a lot of work there and they're planning on doing a lot more work there. So we want to move artwork away from the area they're renovating. And we want to sort of give a distraction, if you will. We want to give something beautiful so that people that are stranded between flights and they're waiting, they can look at something really beautiful. So that when that comes, there will be a rough sketch, a layout that will be circulated and we will approve in, conditional terms. Dealing with the airport commission is we approve it, it goes to airport staff, it then goes to the airport commission, it then goes to city council. Okay, so something like that takes a while. We need to, going back to what I said earlier about temporal budgeting, we need to plan when those are. The challenge is that the airport commission meets on the same day as the arts commission. So we need to coordinate that. And then the last piece of the airport art update is they want to do a lot more art. And so I've asked for their final renovation plan so we get a sense of where they have opportunity for artwork, and then we can work together on coming up with some interesting things. That can be temporary art. We can say this will be something we want for 2 years, or it can be something permanent. Okay. So more of that as it comes, but that's going to be a long process, but it will be an entwined relationship as well. Pillars evaluation next step. So Pillars of Palm Springs started at the last joint commission meeting, which was June of 2022, when previous Councilman Dennis Woods asked previous chair Tracy Merrigan what her plan was for where the horses are. A lot of back and forth, a lot of brainstorming, coming up with ideas, on and on and on. We finally got it out of commission, got it approved. Everything went in front of council. Council approved it in April. So again, that's how long the process took to get everything happening. But when I met with council on this and presented, Jay and I were standing up there and they had 2 comments. Their first comment was, we want them bigger. And we're like, okay, we can make them bigger. Originally, I think we said 4 to 8 feet. And they're like, no, as big as the tribal sculptures in the middle. And we're like, okay, great, they will be big. So we increased the potential height to 12 feet high. So they were anywhere between 6 to 12 feet high. And then the last one was, they said that when these are installed, they want to hire a professional videographer and a photographer and redo the lighting and landscaping in those medians as well to highlight these pieces of work and make them a centerpiece to the city promotion. So that's amazing. That's very exciting. Jay and I then got into a lot of wrestling over how to get this done. And so we had meetings and Jay pulled in nearly every important person on city staff to get this thing started. And so he and I have been dealing with the procurement department, and because of the scale of this financially, it went through procurement. Because it's hitting $300,000 for the piece. So procurement did the application and back and forth, they wrote the application. And when you work with procurement, it becomes, my first thought was, oh, this is a little dehumanizing. But what it does is the process ends up protecting us because we're a very small community and we all know the artist, and the work needs to be evaluated on its own. There can't be this sort of human emotion in deciding what's happening. So the process is that there's a full application, there are requirements of what are needed, which I was able to review. And so you need to supply this amount of previous work, your background, your historical background, tell us what, who you are. And here's the requirement. And there are 6 pillars that they can submit for. They can submit for as many of them as they want, but they will only be chosen for one. Okay. And the fear was that we would not get a lot of applications. Just we're doing this big thing. How do we get people to apply? And as of tonight, we have 125 applications. So that's pretty good. We're pretty thrilled, and so kudos to Jay and procurement. And I nearly broke procurement. Procurement really nearly broke me. So, and the review process will be that procurement is going to take all of these applications and divide them by pillar. So there will be the ones, here's all the creativity ones, here's all the equality ones, here's all of the civility ones. There will be a selection committee that is reviewing and evaluating all of these applications. I do not know who's on the selection committee. Jay does not know who's on the selection committee. Only ones who know are procurement. And these are art experts, public art experts, people with background in art who will evaluate these purely from a professional experience and understanding what the assignment was. Here's what the intention was. There is a grading system, a point system for these as well. And the point system is 50% on the understanding of the assignment. What is the design? Does the design work? 30% for personal and professional background. 15% for budget and engineering type issues, and then 5% for local artists. We want to give a little push to somebody who has a local footprint here. And by local, it's the greater Coachella Valley, so it's not just Palm Springs, but if somebody in Desert Hot Springs or Joshua Tree or Indio, they get that extra push as well. Okay. That the completion of application acceptance is the 25th at 2 p.m. At that point, procurement goes through it with their magic numbers and their abacus, and they rank everything and they submit all those applications to the selection committee. The selection committee is each member of the selection committee is operating independently. They do not meet together. They do not say, hey, do you like this one? I hate that one. It's just they're ranking on everything. The selection committee will then the procurement will then take those varied numbers, put them together, and there will be a ranked winner. Again, 50% of the ranking comes from the creative execution. 30% comes from personal background. So really it's going to end up being 80% comes from the artists themselves. Okay. Those rankings will then be submitted to the Arts Commission for acceptance. Right now, we're targeting having those done by late August, because we need to get them in front of council, for council to approve, and then for us to assign the commissions or the grants to the artists with the completion date of April 15th. Completion and installation, which is what our target date is, which is World Art Day. Yeah. So right now, again, we're sort of talking in conditionals here because we don't know what's been submitted. We don't know what the application is. We don't know how the ranking is going to be. But theoretically, if everything goes well, we will have rankings submitted to us by late August. At that point, we will have to call a special meeting because we do not have a meeting scheduled for August. We will then vote to accept those submissions, and then they go immediately to council. Well, actually, they immediately get a staff report written up, and that goes to council. So I'm just letting everybody know that there will be a special meeting called. We don't know when, but we will give people as much notice as possible for that. And we will have a greater sense of when the special meeting will be once procurement reviews all the applications. Okay. Are there any questions on that?
Yeah, I'm wondering about, when it comes time to reveal the submissions to the public and the rankings and announcing the 6 pillars that we're going with, will that be coming from us? Will it be coming from the city council, and will the evaluation committee be involved in that in any way?
Our acceptance and our meeting will be public.
Right,
So that's when I believe the first time it will be publicly announced who those winners are. So everything we do has to be public. I don't know if there's any plans to even reveal who the selection committee is.
I don't know that either.
Yeah, I don't, generally they don't, but it's something that procurement does for legal issues, just to ensure that there was no favoritism, but, we know generally what type of people they are, people with background in public art and, if they understand the area, we're not talking to people in New York City who don't understand Palm Springs stuff. Because there are certain things that a local person needs to know, like the heat and the sun. Okay.
I think there'll be a lot of interest in that discussion.
I think there will
In
be too.
August.
Yeah. I think there will be too, which is why I'm letting you know now. But as I said, I hope that once the submission deadline is passed and procurement is able to assess how many of these applications come in. Look, for all we know, there's going to be 100 for creativity and only 2 for serenity. That's one thing that the selection committee needs to deal with as well. So we just don't know. This is a complicated process, which hopefully will deliver amazing, amazing results. Okay, so stand by your emails. You will know more. Okay. Any questions on that? No?
No.
Did I deliver that correctly, Jay?
Very well.
And again, special call out to procurement, but the good thing about procurement, I just want to jump aside here. So procurement was doing this on Planet Biz, which we've never used before. To my knowledge, the Arts Commission has never done anything through procurement before. But now the benefit is we have 125 serious artists' contact information and everything. So we're able then to alert them to future opportunities we have. So when we do something like the parks, the $50,000 parks grant, we can go back to some of these people. We will also be able to see all of their work. And we'll say, hey, we like what they did here. Maybe we can engage them to do something else down the road. And I was looking at some of the applications of people, and there's people from Canada that applied, people from New York, a lot of local people. And happily, I think there's probably just as many female artists as male artists. So that's great.
That's great.
Yeah. Let's just hope they all submit. And then the Eco Art Walk, I think I've already discussed, unless anybody has any questions on that. No, okay. Jay, report from the staff.
Yes. Thank you, commissioners. This is just an item to let you know that at the budget approval during city council, the council received a proposal and accepted a proposal to provide $300,000 for the free Thursday night at the museum event. And the $300,000, I believe, would cover, I want to say 3 years. I don't have that exactly down though. But the reason this is pertinent to the Public Arts Commission is because, one, it is related to art museum. Two, because the Public Arts Commission had previously provided $50,000 from the Public Arts Commission fund annually to sponsor the free Thursday night at the museum nights. And so what the city council is doing is using city general fund to fund that and removing from the line item for the Public Arts Commission this $50,000 that was previously used on an annual basis. So frees up some funds for the Public Arts Commission.
And that sort of dovetails into something I discussed individually with each of you and I addressed at a commission meeting, I think 3 meetings ago, maybe 2 meetings ago, that when you look at our ordinances, our core assignment is to create public art, tangible physical art. So it's creating art to add to the collection and it's to maintain that artwork as well. The past few years have gotten a little smudgy with some of the spending of what the Public Arts Commission has funded that probably shouldn't have been funded. So things like the Chalk Art Festival, which I loved and it's a great thing, but the work is gone by 4 p.m. You know, so I think there are ways we can still continue to do community outreach and be a part of the community, but it's just we're, you know, and city staff sort of agrees that, you know, we need to focus back on the art of what we're doing. And I think that's one reason why this is back from public funds. Now, the way the ordinances are written, we have multiple revenue streams coming into the Public Arts Fund. The main one is that development tax, really, the developers pay and anybody who, you know, they're permitting, that funds the public art. There can also be endowments that feed into our public art fund. So we're called out that we cannot do education. We're not supposed to do community outreach with the existing money. So city staff and city council can say, we actually think that the Arts Commission should be doing some of these things. We're going to give them money from the general funds into our allocation of our fund, the public art fund, if that makes sense. They have not done that as of yet. So right now we want to just keep things focused on creating physical art and maintaining it within the collection. Okay. So you will have people come to us and say, can you sponsor Veterans Day Parade? We need art. We need art. And, you know, the reason why I'm talking specifically about a lot of these calendar components is getting the art, good art done and approved through the system takes time. So we need to plan ahead as well. So if there's something you want to talk about, think about, start conversations now, grab Barrett. As I said, he's a smart guy. He can help you conceive something. But it will take you a solid 6 months to get something done. Okay. Anything else, Jay?
I believe that's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. Make a motion to adjourn.
I guess a quick question. Do we know the date of our special meeting in August?
We do not know. As I said, we will know. We will get a better sense once procurement collates all of the applications. And once they figure out how many actual applications are feasible, and then get them to the selection committee. And then the selection committee gets that information back. So it could, you know, we're sort of assuming it will be late August because they're not going to get anything until probably the first week of August, easy. It may be pushed to the first week of September. I don't know yet. And as soon as we know from procurement when they think it'll be, we will let you guys know. So
Then I'll move that we adjourn the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission to our next scheduled regular meeting on September 20th, 2003 at 5:30 p.m. in the large conference room of City Hall.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Yay. Great. Wonderful.